Last year, meat sales fell by 184 million quid, so a lot less of us are eating meat. And part of this is due to the rise in veganism and campaigns such as Meat Free Monday and, how do you say this?
Veganuary.
Veganuary,
I think that's
which is now January. Veganuary, OK? So
yeah, that's when people pledge, don't they, to go vegan for this month.
It's a bit of a taster of veganism.
But a lot of people are asking the question, has Veganuary gone a bit too far? Is it time we started sticking up for the meat industry? Well, we're joined this morning by vegan activist Joey Armstrong, alongside proud meat eater Rachel Carrie, who actually hunts and kills her own meat.
Guys, good to see you. Before we begin, I just want to explain to people what veganism is. It is a lifestyle that avoids all animal foods such as meat, dairy, eggs and honey, as well as animal-derived products such as leather and, as far as possible, products tested on animals. Fair enough?
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
OK. And is that something that you feel people should aspire to as the world changes, as we're aware of climate change, as we're aware of better health? You think this is a good thing?
Yeah, of course it's a good thing. If you're against animal cruelty, animal abuse and just killing innocent animals and breeding them, exploiting them, then you, by default, should be a vegan. I think Veganuary is an amazing campaign. There's no sinister intention behind it. It seeks to save animals, to help the environment. It's an insane use of our resources to grow all this food to feed to animals and then kill them and take a small morsel of their flesh. And it's a positive campaign.
How long have you been a vegan?
I've been a vegan for 6 years and I'm healthier than ever.
And what made you want to become a vegan? Was there a point in your life?
Weight loss originally. I was clinically obese and then I found a diet to lose weight. I come across a raw foodist who talked about the power of fruits and vegetables. I lost a significant amount of weight and then I connected to the karmic sort of ethical sense of killing animals and I didn't see any good coming out of that.
Yeah. Joey, it's interesting that twice as many women do it as men.
I think women are more connected to their emotions and more connected to their compassion, and men are just, there's more stigma.
I say twice as many women, that doesn't mean all women, including the one beside you here, who we're now going to talk to, and this is Rachel. Rachel, what's your view on veganism or Veganuary?
Well, I have nothing against anyone's personal choice, how they choose to manage their health or, you know, what they choose to eat, basically. But I also feel like I have the right to choose as well what's best for me. The interesting thing is I actually was a vegetarian when I was younger for the same amount of years as Joey's been a vegetarian.
I'm not a vegetarian, I'm a vegan.
So for 6 years I was a vegetarian. It didn't work out for me for health reasons. I became really quite anaemic and quite poorly when I was little.
Well, that's just an anecdote.
I had a really low immune system.
That's an anecdote. We have the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, one of the most credible organisations on health on earth, and they say that a vegan diet can be healthy for all stages of life, including infancy, pregnancy, adulthood.
There's quite a few in the media recently where quite a few famous influencers as well have had the same effects, where it's just not working out for their health at the minute. So they've actually changed back to a meat-based diet.
But would you accept, Joey, that you would have to plan your diet a bit more
All diets
carefully?
need to be planned. Are you going to go out and eat sausage rolls and burgers and Pringles? All diets should be appropriately planned. Now, your solution, I think, is for the 66 million people in the UK to go out and hunt wild game.
Absolutely not. That's
so what is your
solution? I don't have one solution. There's not one size.
There's
not one size fits all. My view is that there should be a balance. There should never be an extreme of one. I wouldn't encourage everyone to eat meat, and I certainly wouldn't encourage everyone to eat plants.
Why not?
I think there are... I'm a chartered environmentalist, and I know that there are environmental impacts against both of the extremes. I believe in balance. I believe in people having choice, but I also totally agree with your views on animal welfare.
Are you opposed to animal agriculture, conventional animal agriculture as it stands?
I am opposed to factory farming, and I am opposed to poor animal welfare standards.
So why do you oppose Veganuary when it seeks to boycott those industries?
What about people who say I'm a responsible meat eater, which I would assume, Rachel, that's what you would say.
I'd also like to say...
Let me ask her why she opposes Veganuary when Veganuary seeks to boycott the industry she claims to be against.
Because she believes you can eat meat and promote animal welfare at the same time.
Ooh.
So I do also, I might also say, I don't oppose being a vegan. I oppose anything which kind of encourages people to take a militant view view on anything and go out there and disrupt. We have really hard-working British farmers. The UK actually has some of the highest animal welfare standards in the world.
That is nonsense.
There's
been so many exposés. I've been in slaughterhouses myself. I've been out the front of gas chambers in Manchester hearing pigs scream for their lives. High welfare slaughter is a fairy tale. That is nonsense.
Joey, I reckon that us as consumers, there's a complete disconnect when we go to the supermarket.
Exactly right. You're correct.
That we see stuff in packets and we don't ever think...
Have you seen a slaughterhouse lately?
I have never been to a slaughterhouse.
Exactly.
No.
And that's why I'm so passionate, because to
think
hear
you would
someone
agree
say
with
high
that,
welfare...
Rachel.
It's impractical. I think it's impractical and it's not fair to
Hunting's
force.
practical?
I think we should... No,
Hunting's
I didn't
practical?
say that.
So what's
it's
your solution?
Absolutely not
We have
practical.
a solution. Choosing potatoes...
I think fostering high animal welfare standards is absolutely the way that we all should go. I think
Not
it's
killing them is
fantastic.
welfare.
I think it's fantastic that people are thinking more about what's on their plates, whether vegan, vegetarian or meat eater. I think we should all strive to just have a better awareness.
You know what?
It's
making a
practical
decision in the supermarket.
Everyone.
Choose soy milk over dairy milk. Choose tofu over beef.
Can I ask
Choose
you a question,
plants
Joey?
over murdered animals. That's a practical solution. Going out, getting a gun and shooting a deer in the head like you do is not a practical solution for the working class in the UK. We're offering potatoes,
no one
beans
said
and
that
legumes.
it is. I'm not trying to force my view on anyone. I'm not making a month called, you know, Meaty March or anything.
You're promoting your book, which is promoting hunting. You're promoting your way of life, which is not practical for the whole population. We're offering
I haven't said it has. And neither is a pure plant-based diet.
Plant-based diets can reduce the farmland on Earth by 75%. We can reduce farmland on Earth by 75% if we adopt a vegan diet. That's from Joseph.
Can you answer me the question of how many animals die to protect your crops that you eat? Or how many animals die? How many animals die and how much biodiversity dies?
Let me answer you.
When we clear rainforests.
Most of the crops are fed to animals in animal agriculture. 90% of the soy, the majority of cropland is fed to animals in animal agriculture.
I've never seen a cow eating an avocado or a jackfruit.
They eat hay, they eat grasses, they eat grain. Pigs eat grain. 90% of the pigs in the UK are factory farms. So all of those crops are going to animals. OK, if you eat the plants directly, we have magnitudes less cropland. 75% less farmland used if we adopt a vegan diet.
How would you describe
75%. That's Oxford University, Joseph Poor. So this is a non-argument.
So there's a farm called Nep Farm which fosters. It's gone right back to organic and old-fashioned farming. They've actually found that livestock farming encourages a massive increase in biodiversity. They've actually brought animals which were extinct.
The number one cause of species extinction is animal agriculture. The number one cause of species extinction
is loss of habitat. And the number one cause of loss of habitat is deforestation.
To grow soybeans to animals.
And to feed vegans.
You seem very angry about this.
The
Earth is being destroyed, animals are being abused.
It's almost like you can't hear the opposing view.
Because it's nonsense. Crop deaths is nonsense.
But that's not nonsense
Yeah, crop deaths are nonsense because most of the crops are being fed to the animals that people eat.
Do you have a dog?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm a travelling activist and I don't have a dog. What's this?
I just wondered if you had a dog and if you had a dog, what you fed it. Yeah, I have 3.
So why do you shoot other animals and not your dog? How do you claim to be an animal lover and shoot deer in the head?
I don't shoot deer in the head, first of all. I actually shoot them through the heart because it's the quickest, most ethical death.
Shooting someone in the heart is ethical?
Do you consider... Have you ever sat with a wildlife biologist and discussed the effect that it would have on the environment if we just left animals to it?
We've always been ocean dead zones, deforestation, water use, land use is animal agriculture by far. Nothing comes close.
So do you understand what would happen to a woodland and the ecology in that woodland and the biodiversity if we just left deer unmanaged?
If we stopped deforesting land to feed animals grain, the biodiversity would return.
You do realise... Would we have to deforestate to feed humans then?
We've already got enough farmland. Like I said, if we all adopted a vegan diet, we could reduce our farmland by 75%. That's Oxford University saying that.
Okay.
So going back to Nep Forest as an example, you do realise that forest is not actually wilderness. Before that, we had megafauna in the UK, which were wild horses, elk, and lots of other different species, actually a wild cow, which are now extinct, but they created a biodiverse landscape more than woodlands.
So what's that got to do with the topic?
But if you're a wildlife lover and an animal lover, surely you would support biodiversity.
I don't support shooting deer in the head.
And that's
and I don't
your
support
view.
Killing animals for food. It's against my values.
Just finally and briefly, if anyone in this Veganuary feels they'd like to give this a go, but they don't want to totally convert, what are the small steps? What are the initial things that you would recommend people to do?
A practical solution for the whole population here in the UK is to choose soya milk or rice milk or oat milk over the dairy milk, or to choose plant foods, which are healthier for you, cheaper in the supermarket for legumes and grains and beans and vegetables, and just make decisions in the supermarket when you go to buy, you know, your meat and dairy.
And form that connection again as to where your food comes from. Joey Armstrong, thank you very much indeed. Rachel Carrie, thank you very much indeed.